So this is a Christmas day that nobody would wish for.
Exactly, yeah. It's not. Let's put it this way: it's taking the Christmas family arguments to the most extreme possible level you could imagine. So yeah, it's definitely not a day we want to forget, really. So yeah.
And well, this is a great thing about horror because you can actually take these kind of natural human emotions and just take them to the kind of the furthest levels.
Yeah, it's also like it's just bringing out the dark. I mean, what happens when somebody gets into an extreme situation or family, and it's almost like, it's that sort of pressure cooker environment and bringing out the worst in somebody's character, which you never imagined would ever be capable of doing that stuff, especially with the dad as well. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a good, interesting character study. So yeah.
And I would think as well that this is very much an ensemble piece. So what was that like working with your actors and creating that?
It was great because we had managed to rehearse on the actual sets that we shot on. So they were built in time. So week before we had a week of rehearsal, brought them on the set. We managed to block the shots and just get them into their position, get them gelling together as well. So I think that was really good. It was a real luxury to have that. So yeah.
And what kind of like emotional tone are you trying to reach with this?
I think it's a realistic tone. It's a serious tone. I think what I didn't want to do was make it too jokey and too over the top. Because sometimes in these sort of films, there's a danger of taking it too far. Some characters overreact too much. So I was trying to pare everything back and keep it as realistic as possible as a director. So yeah.
And when you're working in an independent environment, I would imagine it's all about the camaraderie and people just knuckling in and working together cohesively to make a film that they all believe in.
Yeah, it was great because they're almost like a family because we shot it up north, so we stayed up there for several weeks. So nobody left, and everybody stayed there, stayed in the same hotels, and we were out every night. So it was great. So it was almost like a real family, which is great. So that helped, of course, shows on screen.
Welcome to Fright Fest. You must be very excited about being here.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to come here. I was here a few years ago with Paul Hyatt's Howl, and the people who come here are always amazingly passionate. They seem to know more about your film than you do, which is always nice. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. It's a nice atmosphere, and Alan is just so supportive of the film and of us. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here as well. Everything that he said. Plus, I love the people walking around in costumes. Like, it's just so really cool.
And what was it that you found really cool about the script that made you want to kind of invest and be a part of it?
I think it was the mystery of it, and also the kind of thing, well, how are they going to friggin' do this? That was really exciting. And I think just the fact that it starts off as sort of like a family drama and you think it's going one way, and then it sort of turns and suddenly you're into like real sort of horror. So I think that shift was really interesting. Plus my character, Angie. Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, no, the similar things really. It's a different take on a British Christmas, that's for sure. But no, one of the moments that sort of jumped out at me that made me really want to do it was when they all sit down and have Christmas dinner, when all this madness is going on around them, and you just think that is such a typical, like, let's try and get on with it. It's got a real sort of British film tone to it, and then obviously the madness that goes on after that is what it is. But yeah, there were so many little notes like that in the script that just drew me to it, basically.
It's interesting as well because there's lots of kind of social themes that are presented in here. Is it? Do you think having these kind of films and horror in particular that brings kind of like the worst out in people's natures helps sort of cause debate, really?
Yeah, I think it definitely sort of causes debate. I think there's a lot of sort of xenophobia in this movie. I think you've got, the idea of technology and how it sort of affects us. And yeah, I don't know what the answers to those things are, but I think it's great that a movie can get people talking about social issues. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think almost... So we shot this in, 2015? But almost a lot of the undertones, the metaphors and the political points are actually probably more relevant now that it's coming out. Your fake news and your people being media-led and being closed off. And, there's just so much has happened since we shot this that have actually made it even more relevant.
Life imitating art, really.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I did.
Absolutely.
And just finally, this feels very much like an ensemble piece. So was that nice kind of working together and that having that collaborative process?
100%. I mean, we almost all went mad together. We became a family. We'd have good nights out. We'd bicker. We just were a family by the end of it. We were living in the same place and working together in the same set every day. And yeah, it was great. It was great. It's challenging, but really good.
It creates that sort of pressure cooker environment that the film is actually wanting to use. Really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that thing of everybody sort of just like. What happens in the film is really unbelievable. So for the whole ensemble of everyone to be so together in it, and all of us sort of investing in the truth of that, was really gratifying.
When you read the script, I imagine this is a Christmas that you've never encountered anything quite like.
You know, I've had about 5. No, I've not had a Christmas like that, thank God. No, the script, when I got it, I wasn't actually aware it was Christmas straight away. I was just reading it and thought, this can't be Christmas. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic script. And I thought, I don't know how we're going to shoot this thing or how it's going to happen. I don't know how we get from A to Z on it. And a lot of that was found out during the process, actually, of the shooting of it. So
Was that quite a refreshing experience for you, because it makes everything even more in the moment, really, and reactionary for actors?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, in a way, yeah. I mean, you know, it's a good cast. I mean, you're working off the other people anyway, and everyone's in the ball game. So, you know, stuff coming at you that's giving you all the information you need as well. You know, hanging out with someone like David Bradley, who plays my dad in it. We had a lot of chats about stuff and how that was going to be, and so I got to do an impersonation of David in it and stuff as well, which I threw in there. And Dave was kind of like, yeah, bastard, you know. So yeah, it was lots of fun, and you know, and believe it or not, for the kind of film it was a lot of fun to shoot. We had a really good time. So.
With regards to your character, what was it about him that you really wanted to explore that kind of that resonated with you, really?
I suppose everything horrible about me. How I could be on my worst day. I don't know. I've not got a lot in common with the character, really, in real life. So just drawing on stuff that, you know, the stuff you see in documentaries, how you hear about news reports of how people are in abuse situations and that controlling, you know. Yeah, it's a lot of... It was quite dark, but, you know, it was a dark place to be in my head. But I kind of... Once the scene's over, I'm fine, I'm out of it, and I go, often have a look at it and go, oh yeah, that's pretty mean, you know.
I think it's quite interesting as well when you're putting people into a kind of closed environment, that kind of pressure cooker environment, that you start to explore the personalities of people and how they react to certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing that Johnny wanted to create as well with Gavin, and that was that pressure cooker sort of thing, which, you know, I mean, and everyone can relate to. Christmas with, you know, with in-laws and families, maybe that they don't, you know, have a great time and all the problems come out and you know, and sometimes people just want to get home. So it was drawing on that as well. But yeah, I mean, this is an extreme version of it with like the idea of the unfinished business. You're saying it's like, you know, media indoctrination, religious indoctrination, abuse, control, passive aggressive, all these things that, you know, are traits that people have in big or small amounts, and when they come out and you get them in a little pressure cooker, it can be quite unpleasant.
What's interesting with these films that when it brings in these kind of themes, it actually encourages debate. Really.
Well, yeah, I mean, so far all of the reviews that came across film, which I really was so pleased about, is that they've all gone into great detail about what this film's about. You know, what it's representing. You know, how it's holding up a mirror to other things that are going on at the moment, you know, to do with the internet, to do with control and media, to do with fake news, to do with, you know, believing everything you read in the newspaper, everything you see on the TV, you know, what your dad tells you, you know, what a superior tells you, and it's, you know, and you can just rip that up, you know.
This wasn't a Christmas day that you'd expect?
No, I don't know, probably in my family it actually is, if I'm honest, but yeah, I come from lots of 7 brothers and sisters, so probably, but no, here, not at all.
I think what's interesting using Christmas Day as a kind of platform, the catalyst, really. I think there's so much expectation, isn't there, that people are meant to enjoy Christmas. So it's a great way to start, isn't it, and turn the story the other way.
Yeah, I quite like that it's sort of all dysfunctional from the beginning. It's like, you know, you really want them to have a nice Christmas, but you can just see that this is a family that is not really happy.
Yeah, and the fact that even in those ideas throughout events we have in the film, they keep trying to have a nice British Christmas, which obviously isn't doable, but continues to at least halfway.
And it just gets a whole lot worse. Beyond repair, basically.
Yeah. It's something nice about working in the horror genre where you're allowed to kind of push the emotions probably much further than you would in a normal kind of conventional film.
Yeah, I think you're really given freelance to play things that you wouldn't get to do in real life. But that also, a lot of people do suffer from, in our film, things that happen that people could do. Obviously not the extremities of the situation they're put in, But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, because that's why you get into acting, isn't it? To get to play fun things.
I mean, it's interesting being put in that situation and trying to imagine what the hell you would do. It's quite fun exploring that.
Very vulnerable as well, isn't it?
As well to see that there are so many kind of social issues that are also being discussed in this film and kind of hopefully opening a debate, really.
Yeah, well, particularly in the world we live in now, you know, in Europe and also the US particularly, because we had it out there and they spoke quite heavily about how weirdly present it is, and this film being made a couple of years ago, almost what the foresight that the writer Gavin had in dictating where we were going. Now, I don't know if he can read minds or not, but like, it's really interesting, and also it's opening up and further sort of to the sort of social side of it, that actually what's scarier than a knife or a slasher is us and what we're capable of human beings, and that's far scarier.
Actually, yeah, the monsters within us is actually probably more exciting to explore.
That's what I loved about our characters as well, that Gavin had come up with interesting characters. It wasn't just like, oh, a family having a stereotypical nice Christmas and then things go wrong. It was like, it's all a bit odd. Everyone's got their own little quirks, and it's all a bit of a kind of unsettled feeling right from the start within the family. And also everything that's going on, it sort of questions like the world today and media affecting our lives, and sort of being ruled by a higher power, which could be seen as the media and TV and social media and stuff.
I also think that's really relevant now, like things like The Handmaid's Tale have a similar-esque idea that you don't understand how something can get there until you look at the steps, and then you go, oh, actually that is believable, and our film shows you the steps, and you go, you know, and actually, you know, the US, you wouldn't have believed that Trump would be president, but the steps that have happened to get there and what he's doing, you now believe it, and you go, oh man, that is real. So it's
nice that it's kind of a horror film or a sci-fi film, but there's kind of some bigger questions there, and you know, there is actually something to think about.
And I think horror does give you that, doesn't it? It gives you a film to think about. Yeah. It takes it to the next level, really, doesn't it?
It's not just about like just sudden fear that someone's chasing me. It's not that kind of thing. It's a lot deeper, which is quite nice.
I don't think this film's meant to, like a Jason or something, I don't think it's meant to scare you and then you walk out like, oh, that was lovely and jumpy. If you enjoy that kind of adrenaline, this is meant to make you sort of sit for 5 minutes afterwards in your seat and go, oh man, what can I do to prevent the world almost becoming in that manner? And we've shown you in a creative, very small archetype of what they could be, but it's a thinker, definitely. Yeah.
And you're here at Fright Fest, the home of horror. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to sneak in and see some other films as well. Love a bit of horror.
Is that pass going free?
Yeah,
we'll get one of those. We'll stay around the bus. We just sneak in. Yeah.
I've got no pass at all, man. Unless you want to stand here for 8 hours and interview.
My Birmingham accent's not that good, I'm afraid. I would not pass.